All right, welcome back. Tulsi Crats, Bernie Crats, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, denominations, orientations. My name is Dave, and this is The Radical Independent. Breaking news, news I missed, and now have to report on this. Very interesting, and again, showing me a lot about who Tulsi Gabbard is, what she's all about. The political strategists, they won't understand this information. Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard said Thursday that she will not run for re-election for her U.S. representative seat, saying she wants to focus on trying to secure her party's nomination to challenge President Donald Trump. By the way, every poll that they had taken, Tulsi against some corporate Democrat who a lot of these TYT elitist type people were promoting over Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi was trouncing every one of them, at least the one that was declared running. From every poll that I had seen, I think she would have an easy re-election. In any event, let's read on. Gabbard, who represents Hawaii, made the announcement in a video and email to supporters. I believe I can best serve the people of Hawaii and our country as your president and commander-in-chief, Gabbard said in the video. I'm fully committed to my offer to serve you, the people of Hawaii and America, as your president and commander-in-chief, so I will not be seeking re-election to Congress in 2020. I humbly ask your support for my candidacy for president of the United States. Now, two things. This is kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment for Tulsi Gabbard, because she's getting flack from these idiots who are basically saying, well, she's not serving her district because she's out on the campaign trail. This happens every time somebody runs for office who's already in office. They get flack for not serving their district because they're running for president, and that will command all of their time. By the way, this also speaks to the process of running for president, how it's too long, too expensive, and isn't for average people. An average citizen can't run for the presidency, typically. You have to have a ton of money, a ton of name ID. Maybe if you're a celebrity like Arnold or Trump, that works in your favor. But like you and I, we're going to have a tougher time trying to run for anything. The system is already rigged against me because I don't have this pedigree. For instance, I don't come from this background where people will say, oh yeah, we should just groom this guy to run for Congress. Of course, AOC broke that a little bit, and there are a few stories out there of people who, go from, I don't want to say rags to riches, but go from, just your average Joe or Jane, or however you want to look at it, to being a member of Congress. But it's fairly rare. It doesn't happen all the time. The story goes on. She also expressed gratitude to the people of Hawaii for her nearly 7 years in Congress. By the way, maybe Tulsi Gabbard doing what a few other representatives are doing. They're doing self-imposed term limits. I don't think Congress should be a lifetime gig. It just shouldn't be. I know in some cases it is, and people love their representative, or basically their representative is insulated from losing because so many special interest people have surrounded them, basically putting a hedge around their candidacy. And so it's really hard to penetrate that wall of cash coming in, and I almost look at it as just being illegal. I know it's technically legal, and we have heard from the Supreme Court that money is speech. Now, money isn't speech. You and I, we have speech, okay? Tom Steyer, this one's for you, buddy. Money is not speech, okay? So in January, Hawaii State Senator Kai Kalihe, a Democrat, said he would run for Gabbard's seat. and NBC affiliate of Honolulu reported that. I don't know if this is the guy that the corporate Democrats have been promoting, because they're all saying that, oh, Gabbard, she's very vulnerable. She wasn't. According to every poll that I had seen, she was in the lead. An Iowa Democratic caucus poll out this week put Gabbard at 3%. Now, that's 2% higher than Jimmy Carter was at this time. So, just throwing that in there. I know there are a lot of pessimists, and I can be one of them. Just so you know, I can be a pessimist. Look at this and say, oh, doom and gloom. But I'm not going there. I'm not going to do it. 3% with former Vice President Joe Biden, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete in the top 3 spots. Now, notice how this poll has Biden on top, Warren, and then Pete. Where's Bernie? Where's Bernie's got to be there. You mean Bernie's not in the top 3? Incredible. She is in a crowded field of Democrats seeking the nomination to run for president. Another candidate, Tim Ryan, ended his long-shot presidential campaign Thursday. So they just equate Gabbard to Ryan. They're the same thing. Gabbard, even though her name is Googled, and she basically won at least 2 out of 3 of the Democratic debates that she was in. The third one, a lot of people said, oh, she didn't win it, and this and that. But she had some of the most interesting moments of the debate where she tried to challenge the establishment. Hillary Clinton recently suggested that she believed Republicans were grooming one of the Democrats. No. This comes from NBC. So what did they just do with this story? This is important, people. We have to be discerning consumers of information. Hillary Clinton didn't say the Republicans were grooming one of the Democrats. She said the Russians were grooming one of the Democrats. That Vladimir Putin. Someone just screenshot this. This is in my video. It'll be interesting to see what happens to monetization on this video. But even if it gets demonetized, it's going to be in the video. It's in the video. This is a blatant lie. There aren't any Republicans grooming Tulsi Gabbard. Clinton did not mention Gabbard by name, but said, and this is their new fallback, she didn't actually say her name, but she's a favorite of the Russians. Was it Amy Klobuchar? Was it Amy Klobuchar, Hillary? No? Finally, she said, is the favorite of the Russians. I can't believe they're actually regurgitating this horrible piece of propaganda that even most commentators over on the tribal left liberal wing, the TYT wing, most of those people were a little incensed by Clinton's comments. Asked if the former Secretary of State was referring to Gabbard, Clinton's spokesman Nick Merrill said, if the nesting doll fits. What a horrible, what a smear, what a just a pejorative, all right, I'm short-circuiting here, I'm sorry. He later tweeted that Clinton was referring to the GOP grooming Gabbard, not the Russian. Oh, okay, so Nick Merrill has clarified that it was the GOP, and I ask anybody in the GOP if they want Gabbard. I mean, or Gabbard running third party. So rather than focusing on Trump, who is fundraising like crazy, whose rallies are bigger than ever, okay? And this is why the impeachment thing is a horrible idea. It's not going to discourage Trump supporters at all. In fact, it's going to energize them. This story is mind-blowing, and the fact that I'm reading it off of NBC. Clinton claims Russians grooming Tulsi Gabbard, and there is the wonderful and incredible, who is this stooge? I can't even remember his name. It's not Jake Tapper. That's CNN. I can't remember. I know he's not a favorite of anybody in the media, but I know he does the Sunday show. I forget his name. I'm having a brain fart here. So Gabbard reacted by tweeting that Clinton is the queen of warmongers, embodiment of corruption, and personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long. And then Trump attacked Clinton for the suggestion earlier this week and said Clinton and other Democrats claim everyone opposed to them is a Russian agent. Trump is correct. Trump, look, do you think I get pleasure? Because Trump is just a maniac, okay? But he's a maniac who knows how to press buttons, and these people don't see it. They just keep reporting. Oh, let's talk about what Trump said about it. Trump's statement here is correct. All right, so that's the whole story. All right, so let me do some commentary. A couple of things. Number one, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't need this BS. All right, she's young, she's talented. She's basically being accused of something that, if she were found guilty, I believe she would be executed. I'm pretty sure. You could check what the law says about treason and working with a foreign government and so forth. But I think the death penalty may apply. It's crazy. So that's the kind of stuff she's basically being accused of. Now, the story is beginning to morph a little from the Russians are grooming her to the Republicans, basically doing a couple of things, saying all Republicans are Russians, which they're not, or super progressive Democrats, they're all Russians. See, we're running out of room. Where aren't we Russians? Anybody, the Green Party, pretty much Russians. Independents, libertarians, all Russians. This is lunacy, people. This is like George Orwell could not have dreamed of a book that would follow his, epic 1984. But I think we're starting to write a sequel. I think we're starting to see some of the concepts that Orwell had being taken to a whole new level. Look, Tulsi Gabbard may not want to be in politics anymore after this experience. Your whole being, you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, I'm trying to do what's right. I'm trying to do what's right. I'm living my life. I'm living a healthy lifestyle. I'm living a spiritual lifestyle. I'm trying to serve all people. I'm trying to touch everybody with my message. I'm trying to give somebody who is in need of something some hope, something to grab onto that's real and not just a platitude. I'm trying to write really good legislation. If you don't like the Green New Deal, I've got Off Fossil Fuels, which is an actionable plan. If you think Medicare for All is maybe too disruptive, and I know there are people that are going to slam me for saying this, if everybody gets covered and it's basically the same bill, and if rich people want to buy their own insurance, I just, as Jimmy Dore said on his show, what difference does it make? Everyone's going to get covered. Who's going to buy insurance when they're going to be able to get it for free? And the argument is, well, the insurance companies will somehow manipulate it so they can't and so forth. And that's what you have to worry about, is if the doctors and the medical professionals and the hospitals will deal with it. Those people are not insurance. That's the point of care. Okay, those are the providers that provide the actual care. So people who are knocking her around for that, and this happens within all the so-called progressive circles, all these channels. People tell me to watch this video by so-and-so, and I watch it and I go, oh, okay. So they like Tulsi, but they're constantly doing these backhanded things. Look, they all want to get to Bernie. I understand Bernie is polling much better than Tulsi Gabbard. But Tulsi Gabbard overall is a better candidate. She's not the angry old man. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm just saying it. And actually, some of that stuff I enjoy. I like it when Bernie gets fired up. I enjoy it. But Tulsi brings a different temperament. She dials it down. She basically said, look, country, you guys aren't deplorables. Okay? And yeah, was that a reach over to Trump supporters? Actually, now, you can be a deplorable and support Bernie Sanders. You can certainly be very deplorable if you supported Jill Stein in the last election. And obviously the Trump people were called that. These are all elites that look down on working class people, people who are trying to connect the dots, make ends meet. And you can see where our political system is going. Now, does this kind of disappoint me that Tulsi's not going to seek re-election? Yeah, because she's a voice in Congress, and she's on some pretty powerful committees. But I applaud her dedication. I applaud her dedication for trying to actually win this nomination, number one. Number two, I can see it from another perspective, that she tried to do what's right when she stepped down in 2016. I mean, somebody showed me the actual vote totals, I think, in the state of Ohio between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And Bernie Sanders won that going away. But yet all the delegates, all the super delegates, ended up voting for Hillary Clinton. So the will of the people, just in the state of Ohio alone, which is a pivotal battleground state, which a candidate like Tulsi or Bernie would beat Trump like a rented mule, okay? They would, I'm just saying, it would happen, and nobody in the DNC wants it to happen. Instead, they want to run a tribal candidacy. They want a horse race. They want people up at 2 a.m. wondering who the president is. This is the crap they want. They don't want the election called at 11 p.m. They don't like that. I don't know why. I mean, I'm tired of being stressed watching election results. It's a load of crap each and every time it happens. And dating back to, I think, Obama's, well, honestly, if you've been around for as long as I have, the 2000 election was insanity. It was complete insanity. 500 votes here in Florida, hanging chads, if you remember all of that. And I didn't really like Al Gore, but Al Gore, if he had won that election, we may not have had, you probably would have had a war going after Osama bin Laden, but I don't think you would have had a war going after Saddam Hussein. History would have been altered greatly, and more people would have still been alive today. It's just a fact. And again, a lot of things about Al Gore I didn't like. But in hindsight, we don't know. These elections are brutal. And they occupy all of our time and energy. And Tulsi Gabbard isn't, a showboat. She's somebody who wants to go and do things and fix things and change things. So what she did here was she took this idea of, she's neglecting her district. She took it off the table. She's still obviously serving and will be in Congress technically, till the beginning of 2021, right? Is it the same as what the presidency, Congress, they leave right around the same time? But she's not going to be actively campaigning. She can't wage 2 campaigns at the same time. A lot of people, when they drop out, they run back home. They take the money that they got from their presidential bid and they pour it into their congressional campaign. This takes that possibility off the table. Again, and here's the other thing before I wrap this video up. Tulsi, this sets you up perfectly if you want to run as a third party. And I'm begging, I'm pleading, I'm cajoling, I'm doing everything I can in my power to say there is an open door in the Green Party. They have 2 so-so candidates right now running for the presidency. One who's a Russian hoaxer. The other one I think just doesn't have the momentum, although we'll see what happens as time goes on. But the Green Party needs a high-profile name, whether that's Tulsi Gabbard or Jesse Ventura. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard would be all over the news media. Fox News would have Tulsi Gabbard on as a Green Party candidate probably every day if she wanted the press and the exposure. I think we've reached a new era in politics where people are very interested in alternative viewpoints. And there are a ton of independent voters out there that aren't registered as green or libertarian, but who would cross over for these same principles. And, of course, this will validate what Hillary Clinton said, that the Russians are grooming and so forth. Maybe that's why Tulsi would never entertain that, because then it's going to be looking like a self-fulfilling prophecy and so forth. I don't care. I'll wear a t-shirt that says, yes, I'm a Russian bot, and I'm voting green for Tulsi Gabbard or, whoever else, if it's Jesse Ventura. And you need somebody who's bold and outspoken. You don't need timid. You don't need somebody who's going to kind of, be the wallflower in the campaign. You need somebody that's going to push back against this two-party duopoly. And if it ends up being Biden and Trump, there's going to be a lot of running room for a true reform populist candidate who isn't an embarrassment to the presidency, who can say, you know what, are you tired of the same old just, fixed, rigged nominating system? Are you tired of that? Do you want a president when you wake up in the morning you're proud of? Do you want somebody who's going to still be there working on your behalf for the working class after they get elected? Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, I don't know, someone else coming out of nowhere, please, you got to do it soon. So this opens up those possibilities. I can't say that I'm all, I don't know, I feel a little sense of remorse, like the whole system is basically weighing on her and she can't do two things at the same time. It's not feasible. She had to do the right thing. She ends up doing the right thing here, by the way. This is the right thing. And I know that the tribal liberal left will crush her for this and say, oh, see, she was worried she couldn't get reelected. And that's BS. That's BS. I think with very little time and effort and money for that matter, Tulsi Gabbard could be reelected to Congress. But now she can focus 100% on her run for the presidency. The other issue is Tulsi Gabbard may have some internal polling data that you don't see. And she might say to herself, hey, this poll says I'm at 7% in Iowa. No one is going to report it. There are many different ways to poll, including all of the activity via social media, which these polls never take into consideration. It's like they poll the least technologically savvy people in the world, in order to get the poll that they desire. That's why Joe Biden continues to lead, and that's why things are scary. And I think Tulsi wants to give this her best effort. So good for her. Kind of weird talking about this today. Part of me thinks that the system is starting to wear on her a little bit, but maybe this was all part of the strategy going in. Tulsi is a little unpredictable, and that's what I love about her. And she stays true to her core principles, which to me is far more important than political strategy. So I know the political strategists out there will be scratching their heads probably, but guess what? Good on Tulsi, and we're with you all the way. Talk to you soon, everybody. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, help me out over on Patreon. I'm picking up patrons over there. $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month. You give whatever you want to give. You can have a conversation with me over there. You can send me messages and so forth. We can go back and forth and have a civil conversation. Also, for one-time donations over on PayPal, typically I will include my PayPal address in the description of the video. So there you have it. Ways to support the radical independent and the candidacy of Tulsi Gabbard to some extent, because most of the time it's Tulsi for me. That's what I talk about. All right. See y'all soon. Thanks for watching.